This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon. If you would like to become a patron, check out the link in the video description.
My fellow Ohioans, we have not faced an enemy like we are facing today in 102 years. I don't know any other way to describe this but to say that we are at war. In a time of war, we have to make sacrifices.
I have never, ever used one of these before, so this could go horribly.
We're now at a new stage. Dr. Acton just signed an Ohio Health Director's order, a stay-at-home order for all Ohioans.
Let's take the whole thing off. Let's just go for it.
It is self-explanatory, I think, but it does permit exceptions to staying at home. Leaving home for essential activities is permitted for health and safety, for necessary supplies and services, for outdoor activity, certain types of work, and the final one, to take care of others. It will stay in effect until April 6th. I am convinced that we can do this. We can do this.
I hate this. I did not actually intend to buzz my hair quite this short, but it'll have to do, it'll grow back. Since we're in lockdown, I'm not able to schedule a haircut, so I had no way to maintain my undercut, so it had to go away. Anyway, I thought it would be interesting to vlog a week of my life working from home while under lockdown. I thought about doing this last week, but I thought it would be too boring because not much happens. But we are living in interesting times, and I thought I might as well document it anyway. These days my sleep schedule is really messed up, so I go to bed at like 1 or 2 a.m. and wake up at 9:30 a.m. and then I shower and eat breakfast to get ready for my day, play a little Animal Crossing to put myself in a good mood. I am also finally on Ritalin, which is exciting because it's helping me stay focused during these stressful times. So I take that with my breakfast and it usually kicks in while I'm in the middle of Animal Crossing. This week I'm trying something new where before I sit down and start working, I do a little bit of morning yoga. I found that to be really refreshing and a good start to my day, so we'll see how I feel about it by the end of the week, and maybe I will keep doing it every week. Wow, I look like an egg. So today was very productive, actually. I crossed everything off my to-do list for the day. I did the census, I paid my rent, and I sent the invoice for the project I've been working on for the past 4 months. So I have money coming in, financial security. I cannot shake a deep sense of anxiety and foreboding, but things will probably be okay.
Okay, let's begin at the top of the mat today in mountain pose. Jumping right in, so it's up to you to really bring the breath. Take a big inhale in, stand up nice and tall. Big exhale out.
Wow, I have really not felt like vlogging at all. Work was a bit easier yesterday. I didn't have quite as much to do, but I was still super stressed out just in general. So I needed to just step away from everything. I took a walk around the block like twice. I still don't feel particularly good. I don't think anyone feels particularly good right now. Yesterday I went to the post office. That was weird. I had to mail a medical bill for my wisdom tooth surgery. I was pretty nervous about going out in public during this whole thing, even though sending mail is an essential service, but it turns out that the post office set up these like transparent plastic barriers on the counter so that when you're talking to the person, you don't like spread the virus to each other. So I was able to send my mail without incident. I'm also noticing when I have to go places that they have like blue X's on the floor with painter's tape where you're supposed to stand like 6 feet away from each other in line. I went to the pharmacy a couple weeks ago and they had like a stack of crates in front of the counter with a sign on it that was like, don't come any closer. Anyway, why am I not wearing my glasses? I look cuter with glasses. Anyway, I have more work to do today, as I do every day. I wish I could show it to you, but it's confidential until it's made public, which makes it kind of difficult to film anything interesting, right? I didn't even do yoga this morning. I didn't feel like it. Like, I wanted to, but I booted up Animal Crossing and they were cherry blossoms. And I was like, wow, I should just keep playing Animal Crossing because it looks pretty today. So I did that instead of yoga. Whatever, dude. I don't know what to say.
So in that sense, the fight over this vaccine is a bit of a proxy for a larger question, right? Which is, will this become a nationalist movement, this pandemic? Despite the fact that it's also an incredibly global movement and a reminder of our connectedness.
Exactly.
So today's Thursday, April 2nd. It is an absolutely gorgeous day outside. I'm in such a good mood. It's amazing how much my mood just completely hinges on whether the sun is out. I went for a very lovely walk, staying away from other people, of course, and I've had my windows open all afternoon. People have been shouting outside, which is really distracting. But that's fine. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, so I'll share some of those with you, since there's not much else I can talk about. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of reading the news, but I also want to stay informed, so I trust a handful of podcasts to curate some of the most important things happening. Right now I'm mostly interested in the public health news and politics, so I've been listening to The Daily by the New York Times, Up First by NPR, The Takeaway by WNYC Studios, the NPR Politics Podcast, 538 Politics, and this is cheesy, but I listen to Coronavirus Daily. I don't know, man. I just like to know what's happening. I actually feel less stressed if I feel like I have a really solid understanding of things. Oh, I forgot to mention 1A by NPR. I also like 1A. And then I have a few podcasts that I listen to just for fun. Right now that is The Adventure Zone, which is a D&D podcast. You might have heard of it. Sawbones, which is about medical history. Dear Hank and John by Hank and John Green, as if that would be surprising to anyone by the posters around my room. And Oh No, Ross and Carrie by Ross and Carrie, who investigate claims of the paranormal. It's very funny. What else do I have on here? I'm subscribed to a lot of shows that I'm not like listening to regularly right now, and I don't really want to go through all of them. The only other two I'm going to mention right now are The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green and 99% Invisible by Roman Mars. Both of those have the same vibe to me. They examine things in daily life that you might not have thought about so deeply. Sometimes Anthropocene Reviewed makes me cry. That's good enough for that. I'm really not digging this like big square of light right in the middle of me. Who cares about good lighting? This week doesn't count. Since I can't show you anything I'm currently working on, I thought it might be interesting to show you a project I completed recently. It's a project I did for SIECUS, which is the sex ed organization I've been working with. So I'm just gonna pull that up on my computer and show it to you. Microphone on the desk. Since this is live, I'm just gonna go to the SIECUS website. Oh, how cute. So this is the SIECUS State Profiles Report, which goes over the current laws in place in each US state about sex education. So if you click here, I made this PDF. This was made fairly quickly, so it's pretty simple. Basic cover page, table of contents. This document basically expands upon the information on the website, talks about the specific regulations in each state. So here we have the introduction with some highlights, and then a pretty long set of instructions on how to read the tables at the end of the document, how to use this information if you would like to advocate for more sex ed in your community. And then some pretty detailed charts. This one shows the requirements and quality of education in each state, whether or not it's mandated, whether or not STI education is mandated, whether healthy relationship content is mandated, and then if sex education is provided, it must be age-appropriate, evidence-based, culturally appropriate, and or medically accurate. And then these little abbreviations show which type of sex ed falls into the category, I guess. For example, Alabama, sex ed, STI education, and healthy relationships education is all age appropriate, but it must not be any of these other things. So you can go through and look for your state. Let's see, I live in Ohio, so sex education and STI education is mandated. There's some healthy relationship content, but it doesn't have to be comprehensive. And the healthy relationship education must be age appropriate, but it doesn't have to be any of these other things. And neither sex education or STI education has to be any of these things. So they can just say what they want. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the abstinence-only method of teaching that they use. I personally was taught that the more you have sex, the less you are able to emotionally connect with others. So that's the kind of fun thing they're allowed to teach us here. Maybe you live in a state where it's better, I don't know. And then the second chart shows, these are all like complicated, so I'm not gonna dive into all of them in depth, you can check them out yourself. But this one talks about additional requirements. The third chart is additional requirements for healthy relationships. And then the last chart is for parent-guardian notification. I did all of this in InDesign. I'll actually pull up the file. This is interesting. Let me change the viewing mode. If I turn on the grid, you can see that I have a 6-column grid that everything is aligned to make sure that every page flows and matches each other. Everything stays within the margins except for the page number. This paragraph spans all of the columns, but then beyond this, the body copy is 3 columns. As you go through the document, it still follows these columns. Some things are a little smaller than the columns or a little wider than the columns, depending on what they look like visually, but overall, everything follows the same pattern. I am not gonna do a tutorial on charts, but in InDesign, charts are treated like text boxes, so if you click on it like this, you can edit all of the columns. Some of these I cheated a little bit because I wasn't sure if I could do something and I didn't find an answer right away, so I just improvised. I wanted all of these check marks to be centered so that they'd be easy to scan, but some of them have asterisks next to them, which I could not type into a box without it moving the whole check mark over because they're centered. Here's an example. Oh wow, now this one's over there. What I just ended up doing is I made a totally different text box and put it on top of the chart. Graphic design is really just finding a lot of workarounds for things. That's a lot of my job. Here's another little thing. I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to get these white lines to be between the boxes and the header. So these are just lines that I put on top of it. So like, back to preview. You move it, oh, disappears. So that's the grand tour of this document you totally didn't ask to see. I just can't share anything with you until it's like launched, you know? I'm working on some other things for Seekis right now. Anyway, I have a couple more things to do today, so I'm gonna do those things, and I will check in with you tomorrow. Hello, this is post-editing Morgan. I never finished the vlog because my anxiety was starting to get really bad. I'm not sure whether that's due to the global pandemic or starting a new medication. Probably a mix of both things. I honestly don't know how people do vlogs of their daily lives like all the time because I prefer to have like a goal in my vlog, like some sort of storyline with a rough beginning, middle, and end. When I'm just recording everything that's happening during my day, I feel stressed, like I'm being watched and I have to frame everything in a way that's interesting, or if I'm really busy I have to take a break from what I'm doing to tell the camera about what I'm doing. Regardless, I hope you've enjoyed this look into my quarantine life. As always, if you enjoy this kind of content, I'd love it if you subscribed. I talk a lot about art and design, how that intersects with my daily life. I like talking about activism as well. I haven't posted anything new to Instagram in a minute, but I also have an Instagram if you'd like to follow me on there. Links to my social media are in the video description, and if you would like to support me, I also have a Patreon. I'm sure you're familiar with Patreon, and of course don't feel obligated to contribute anything during a financial crisis, but any money that I get from Patreon I put toward licensing the music that I put in my videos, as well as paying for hosting fees for my website. Any support is appreciated as it helps me bring these videos to you. That is all for this week. I hope to see you next time I make a video. Stay safe out there. Hey! Hey!
Hello, little man. Are you a tiny little baby boy?